In today's video, neighbor Al and I are going to go to a cedar tree on his property, and we are going to attempt to harvest cedar shakes. It's it's cedar bolts, they call it.
To make shakes.
To make shakes, okay. I gotta get my terminology right. I have a lot to learn today. I've got Al's fro, we've got chainsaws, we've got axes, we've got mauls, and a lot to learn. So let's just get right into it.
Before it rains.
Yeah, before it rains.
Up to the spring. Not too long ago. I cleaned the windshield.
Ah, nice.
Wasn't thinking about the camera, but it was so dirty I couldn't see.
Yeah.
The other day when I was looking around.
That's so many rocks right there.
That's the scary part. Yeah, wet. Too bad.
So in order to make it to where this western red cedar, it's a western red cedar, right?
Right.
Yeah. To where this western red cedar is, we have to climb a pretty steep hill in the truck, and there's boulders all over this one spot that kind of tip you away from the side of the hill that you want to be leaning towards. Al and I have been up here before. I think it was last year. We gathered a bunch of firewood up here. So those of you that saw that video, you've seen us travel all around this hillside up here.
There's that cedar there, but that's not big enough for
Okay.
pigs, I don't think.
Yeah. Yeah, these are cedar trees right here. Big cedar grove in this area.
This is where I got the last load of firewood.
Oh,
And in here, I got a whole load.
nice.
Little stretch right here.
And while we're up here, I'm gonna help Al get some firewood too, because he's running almost empty, right?
Yeah, I got about enough for one night, I think. So much you can hardly see where the road is.
Yeah.
Knock down some of these stinging nettles there. Yeah, I want to drag a log or two when we come out.
Okay.
Clear out
Roll this up now. Oh boy.
I got those
Ooh.
things sticking up in the back.
Big branch in the road right here. Okay. All right, I think he's good to come on through now. Doing pretty good so far.
Back in. Get it out.
Okay. Oh, that's an interesting corner there.
It's kind of tight here, a couple places.
You can't see anything. We're just going straight through the bushes here.
Just about there. A piece of it.
Oh, that's the spot right
Knock the brush down so we can get to it. We're there.
there. Made it.
That's a hell of a trip. We'll see more on the way out. Knock down.
Sure looks different than the last time I was here. Just very overgrown.
Oh, shoot.
Oh yeah.
Thing for clearing brush. I knew I was going to forget something.
Oh, there she is.
That's a big chunk of wood.
Yeah, we got two here. There's one there, and then this one crosses on top of it. Any ideas on how to tackle this, Al?
I'm thinking.
Yeah, there's a lot right there. It's more than I remember.
Yeah. Every time I see it, oh, it's that big.
And there's a lot of dirt in there.
Oh, there might be some shakes in there. That's pretty nice and straight there. Probably needs choking. Ooh. Probably shouldn't have choked it at all.
looks great.
Yeah. For an old saw and a worn out chain, cuts pretty good.
Did it sound like I was a little high in the RPMs? It sounds like you like to keep it lower.
Well, I was yanking on it, so I drug it down. No, whatever cuts. You got to put the cover on you. I ran just fine without it.
Do you think we got some good stuff here?
I think you can get some shakes out of that. Certainly wide enough.
Yeah.
I don't know if you'll get enough to do your whole shed.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could probably get 3 rows. Maybe. Yeah. Here's a shake.
That's a good one.
Trim.
Guess we could use your flipping method.
Oh,
Set this down as a block.
Right. I don't know if you want that one or not.
Yeah.
Yeah. You'll only need a narrow one.
Like right here?
Yeah, cut off the bad end, yeah.
Okay. You know my reputation with these wedges. My inaccuracy.
Oh, yeah. I didn't bring the bad one. I'll break my handle.
There we go. What do you think about this one?
I think he's not there.
Oh yeah, look. You said those are carpenter ants?
The carpenter ants. They're all in here.
Probably want to leave that one here.
Well, you might get one shake out of here.
Okay.
Back from there. Yeah, right there. Turn the bark.
Maybe I shouldn't have done it like that.
Might be easier to just put it through.
We're getting closer to a truckload over there. Nice.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm glad we didn't do this yesterday. It would have been kind of warm.
Oh man, yeah. If I think I'm sweating now,
yeah,
I would have been dying.
15 degrees warmer yesterday.
Yeah. Good call. 30.
Yep. These are all bad ones.
I think so. You might be able to get some shorter ones out of there.
Well, I'm amazed we got that much
Yeah.
already. Good stuff.
It's exciting. So that thing was growing in two right there,
Yeah.
and then this half broke off.
And years ago, it got hit by lightning. I think I told you about that.
Oh, that's right. Now I remember. This is the lightning strike mark right there.
Yeah.
So that one that's laying on the ground split from there.
Yeah.
And then the other one.
Weakened it years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was in bed when the lightning hit. I went about that far off the bed.
Oh my God.
The lightning and the boom, they were just the same instant.
Wow.
It was so close because the cabin's right down there.
Jeez. Wouldn't want to be close to that when it
No.
struck. Well, this is the aftermath here from that log right there, a bit of the end there. These are the good for nothing pieces. Pretty rotten. All this stuff. Not really gonna get any shakes out of these pieces. Maybe that one right there. That end of that one looks good, and then it's rotten over here. Maybe this one, I don't know. But I'll walk around here, pick up the scraps, and then Al and I are gonna drive out of here. Looks like our calculations were pretty good, Al.
Yeah.
Got just enough good stuff. All this left over here from just what we cut. And we're leaning these up against this tree, and hopefully all these bug infested pieces will be free of bugs.
Calculated? Remember that part?
I think it's more like we just got lucky.
Oh, we just got tired of cutting.
Yeah, I definitely got tired, that's for sure. All right, we ready to head down the hill?
All right, a piece of firewood
Yeah.
dragged down. I love it when the truck starts when you're a mile from home up in the woods. There have been times. Can almost see the road now.
Yeah. These ones here?
The ones that have the bark on them. Really dry. Yeah, that's the one. Is that going to go fall on the truck?
Oh, yeah. That'll make for good firewood for sure.
Yeah. That's all I need to get through these couple of rainy days.
So today is June 1st, by the way. So we're almost into summer. The warmer weather is here, but at night it's still getting pretty cold.
That's going to go right down the road, right?
Yes. That it looks like it's leaning that way.
Good. So if it falls on the truck, you're going to catch it.
Yeah, I'll be standing here with my arms wide open.
Okay. Use that stuff. That's the way it always is. It's still hanging up? Yeah. Cool. There it goes.
So we just drug that piece out of the woods, and there's these two pieces that we're gonna get. The top is somewhere in the bushes, but we're gonna call this good.
That way. Nice. Where do I think?
Then under,
It's got to go under.
yeah. Here's those rocks that I was talking about. That's the danger rock right there. Let's see him hop over those. Keep coming. Stop.
Afraid I'm gonna pinch my finger.
Giant puzzle. Yeah. All right, Al, so I owe you big time. Yeah.
Yeah, that was fun.
I gotta help you gather firewood, which we drug those down. You want me to help cut them up?
Well, I'm just gonna cut them up and throw them in the truck, yeah, I guess.
Okay.
And we can buck them up in the dry spot. You can have it if you want.
Cool.
Or not. I think it's
No.
maple or something.
Sweet.
It's not very super heavy.
That should work
Might
great.
work for the easy one.
Yeah, because the cedar should split easier, so that's perfect.
And after watching your 2 videos of you hauling logs uphill, I made this up for you.
Oh, no way. So this is to hook onto my truck and pull them out of the woods?
Yeah, this end, I guess, for the truck. And you can use this around the ball there.
Okay.
So the swivel works.
Oh, that's
You
great.
want to have a swivel because this is actually guy wire for phone poles and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't have a swivel, when you pull on it, it gets all twisted up and stuff.
Smart.
That should keep it good.
Wow. Thanks, Al. That's awesome. Appreciate that.
You need it.
All right. No more flipping logs from
No
me.
more flipping logs uphill.
Oh, man.
Downhill's one thing.
Okay.
Uphill, no. Work smart, not hard.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much. I can't tell you thank you enough for
Thank you for the
going up there.
company and
Yeah.
helping me get rid of that cedar before it completely rotted.
Yeah.
It's good. I'm glad somebody can use it.
Yeah. We'll see how many shakes I can make out of it.
Yeah.
And then
you're going to need a lot more.
yeah. Yeah.
And there's a little more up there.
Yeah.
And if you want that pile down there, I'm never going to use them. They're not 2 feet long, I don't think.
Okay.
They're short ones.
Okay.
So you're welcome to them if you want.
Cool.
I'll never use them. They've been there for years.
Yeah. I will need the cap, the ridge cap,
Yeah,
so
that'd be
they'll
good for that.
work for that. Sweet. All right, man, it feels like Christmas morning with all the stuff that I'm leaving Al's with. I've got my cedar bolts here. I've got some 1x6 trim that I can use to create the rest of those tree silhouettes to finish the pickets that I didn't finish in the last episode. And then I got this log puller cable that Al gave me. So let's head back to the cabin. So it's the next day here and it's pouring down rain. Let's make some shakes. Well, that was a lot of hits with the hammer to make one shingle. This might be two. This is pretty massive. I have no idea how big I'm gonna make these. I know how long. They're all gonna be this long, but this is 24, well, more like 26 inches. Okay, so I'm learning a lot. This is not my first time using the fro. You guys saw me use it to make those little shakes on the Woodshed handrail over there. That was my first time using it. Now this is my second time, and there's this very, like, I'm trying to get it to the point where I can use this wood handle and just bend it and it'll break. But when it's high up here, there's too much tension. I can't quite get it there. And like, one smack before that, or one smack after reaching that point, I guess you could say, it breaks and then it falls. So it's very hard to find that exact place where you stop hitting it and then you go. I'll get there eventually. And this wood handle keeps sliding out, so I need to put a little wedge or something in there. And I'm trying to alternate, go on different sides of this cedar bolt here and use my left hand and arm and then use my right hand and arm so I can kind of equalize. I think it's going pretty good so far. Jeez. I'm marking these at 1 inch on the top. So you would think that cracking sound that I'm hearing, that's the indicator, but I'm pulling on this and it won't go. But as soon as I hit this, it's gonna bust on me. Oh, see, like, when is that point? It's really hard to gauge. It's a lot nicer being on this side of the bolt when it goes, so it doesn't smack me in the legs. Smack me in the legs or the Johnson. Oh. That hits you in your Johnson. It is the next day and it's still raining. But I must say, this garage smells really, really good. Just leaning these shakes over here, they're a lot more dried out. Not that that really matters if these are getting soaked out here, but they better be able to withstand the rain because they're gonna be on the roof eventually. So got a good kindling pile here going. About to make that pile a lot bigger. I'm gonna try and split all those bad boys today. A lot of good ones right there. Had to cut that end off because there's a giant knot right here, but that shorter bolt might be able to make some starters or ridge cap. Shorter pieces are still good too. Oh boy. It's lunchtime. Got some ground beef and vegetable soup here. And at this point, I think you guys understand how I'm making these shakes. So right now, as I sit here eating lunch, the current status is, as you see right now in the garage, that's the pile of scraps that I've got, and that's how many shakes or shingles I have made so far. I put two 2x4s, two 8-foot 2x4s on the ground because that is the length of the woodshed. So that'll be my gauge for how many rows I've got. There are currently this many cedar bolts, as Al likes to call them. Cedar bolts, that's how many there are still on the driveway. So a lot more to go. But like I said, you guys get it at this point. So we're gonna time lapse me going through the rest of those, and then I'll catch up with you when I'm done making those. So after I finished my soup, I went back out there, and like I said, I was just gonna time lapse the rest of it, which I did. You're watching that right now. But it took me the rest of that day, and I didn't finish all of the bolts. So I came back the next day after that to finish up finally. This is the last bolt from this truckload. My arms are shot, but let's finish strong. Once I finished splitting the final shingles, well, periodically throughout that process, I cut the longer scrap pieces into shorter pieces, and I loaded them into the back of my truck because I think they're gonna work really well for cookwood for Al's wood stove. As some of you probably already know, neighbor Al has a wood cook stove, and that's how he cooks his meals, and he needs smaller wood in order to make the fires inside that stove. And so I loaded up the truck. I got an entire truckload of scrap cedar pieces, and I'm gonna show you some footage right now of the aftermath after getting all the shingles from those bolts and all the scrap in the back of the truck. That is what it looks like. I think I got 6 rows. I think that's what I counted, 6 rows. And there's still some more processing to do on those, but that will happen later on today. And now I am here in my truck with the truckload of cedar, and I'm gonna take it to Al's.
Yeah, very good. That's good right there. Dang,
Isn't that
that's
crazy?
fun. Wow.
Doesn't that like not make sense? It's like I made more than what I started with.
Yeah. Wow.
There we go. Oh wow, there's a lot here.
Yeah, there's more than I thought.
Jeez, holy cow. That's like as much as we got.
Yeah, might be.
I don't even know if that'll fit in the truck.
Yeah, you know, that's too low for this.
Dang, this was like 25 years ago, you said?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. But they're still good. Like even though we grabbed that one from over here and it was wet, but once you get to the inside, it was
Yeah, some
still
of these,
good.
Like that. That's no good. Kind of whoopsie. I don't know if you want to. It won't go anywhere.
I was thinking of doing this at one point, buying some stuff like this
Oh, yeah.
and putting everything together that way.
Mm-hmm.
But I decided to just do the notching.
Looks better with notches.
Yeah. Thanks.
Welcome.
See how they got the shingles on the edge there?
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
Right. Yeah,
Going
I
all
like
the way
that.
up. Hey, this is the airport. Look at what Al's got.
Look what Al had.
Yeah. This is an electric log splitter. And it's gonna take some tinkering because it hasn't been used in a while and I gotta figure out what connections go where, but Al is gifting me this. It was gifted to you before, right? So
By a renter.
yeah, but we'll see how it works. Maybe if I can get it running, I can use this to split firewood and also to make the shakes. That would be amazing because my arms are pretty dead from what I've done so far and I'm less than halfway there, so. Because the hardware store might have connectors and stuff.
One day, but everybody told me to be smart. Lauren, baby, use your head. I chose to use my heart. Let me be patient.
All right, so that is a lot of cedar that I need to make shakes out of. I just laid them there on their side, and hopefully they will get some sun exposure over the next week. It's gonna be sunny and hot here. So a lot of them have rot like this, but I think once I shave that off, the core of most of those are really, really good. So I should get quite a few shakes out of them now. When it comes to this thing right here, my new log splitter, which may or may not work, I don't know. Al said he didn't know either, but it's got all these wires, and so far I have just made the what seems to me obvious connections, like red to red, black to black, all that good stuff. And it looks like there was just one connection that was cut, and I just need to renew that, crimp it together, and then test it out. It feels solid. Okay, that's all the connections. I think this is the power cord right here, and I think this is the on-off switch. I guess I could figure out the cover later. Let's just see if it works. So that connection's good, and there's power to it. I just don't know how to make it move. I don't know. It just tried for a split second there. I switched the wiring. Let's try it again. And turn up the RPMs. Overload alarm just went off on the generator. Maybe I have the wiring screwed up somehow. Well, that's a bummer that I can't get that to work. I just tried about 5 different variations and I kept getting the same thing that generator says is being overloaded. So I don't know if it's a problem with me and the wiring or if it's actually too much of a load for the generator. But I guess I'll just go back to living my life as though this thing didn't exist like I did about 4 hours ago. And I'm definitely going to wait for another day to split all those into more shakes. But what I want to do before the end of the day today is set up my table saw, and well, I'll show you what I'm about to do with that. the table saw, I used that to cut a straight line on this side and a straight line on this side. And then with the chop saw, I cut a line that's perpendicular to those two. And that's gonna ensure that these shingles, when they lay down on the purlins, these are the purlins here, it's gonna be straight with the purlins, and then when each shingle butts up next to the other one, there will be a gap. They're not gonna butt up against each other, but now that each one of these lines is straight, I can make them equally spaced, whatever that's gonna be. I think it's gonna be the head of a screw. That's what my gap will be. So now I can make sure those are equally spaced. They're all gonna be straight with each other. And then the next row, this is the starter row, by the way, and this is 2 purlins thick here because you need the first row to kick up a little bit. And then the next one will lay on top of that, and it's gonna go right there. And then I'll take another one, it'll go right there. And again, the gap will probably be a screw head. So now I know these are equally spaced. This one can go here, that'll line up there, equally spaced, and on and on. And the starter shingle will nail to this purlin, and then the next shingle will nail to this purlin. This shingle is going to go on top of that one, and it'll nail into this purlin. And the story continues. This is a rough one, but you can see how this one is just me trimming it with the axe, and it's not straight. So if I put 2 rough ones right next to each other, I wouldn't be able to ensure that they're equally spaced between each other. Now, all of this cutting and precisionness that I'm doing isn't really necessary. I could just put all these rough pieces together and it would look much more rustic. But because I have the table saw and I have the chop saw at my disposal, and because of how awesome this looks, in my opinion, and it's my woodshed, so I get to determine what I'm gonna do, I really like this. See this big wobble right here? To fix that, I would need to plane each one of these and do the same thing I did with the sides and with the front. I need to make it flat. So I need to eliminate all this bumpiness and flatten this. Okay, changed my mind on that. That would take an eternity. So I think what I'll do is just use the axe to take off the big chunks and get it close. Or I'll just leave it kind of looking like this, a little bit wobbly, or maybe I'll just leave them super rough and not even do any of the stuff that I just showed you. That might actually be a better way to go, because while I did my best to ensure that all these are flat with each other, at least in this straight line here, that doesn't mean the rest of it isn't going to have these little bumps and stuff. I did use that giant chisel to flatten off the tops of these to take off like the really big bumps. So it's going to be pretty close to flat once I put the purlins on here, but there will be just a little bit of this going on. So maybe it would be good to just leave it like really rough, crazy, random, and bumpy. And that would be less work too. But needless to say, no matter how I approach turning these into shingles like I did with these over here, with the tools that I have at my disposal and the physical energy that I possess as a one-man human being, it's going to take a lot of time for me to create all of the shingles that it's going to take to cover the roof of the woodshed. So with that being said, I'm going to be working on that over the next several weeks possibly. So that means next week I'm going to work on 2 things at the same time. I'll be making the shingles in the background while also preparing the woodshed for the shingles by adding bracing, installing the purlins, adding some more blocking, and there's something else that I could also work on that I can't think of right now. But there's just going to be a lot of things going on at the same time to finish this woodshed. All right, everybody, this is not going to be the typical video wrap up. In this series of videos, I have been doing this outside in front of the woodshed, but it is currently 1 a.m. in the morning. More on that in a second, but I just did a crazy video editing nonstop for an entire day. Yeah. Pulled one of those because I had to, because I promised the lovely Julia that I would spend the entire weekend with her, and not work at all. So I'm keeping my promise, and that's what I had to do in order to make that happen. So let's wrap up this really quickly because I need to go to sleep. Okay, so the first thing of note while playing the video back was that I missed filming Al actually starting the generator, like pulling it and starting it. So his hat does not have magical powers that automatically start his chainsaw when he waves his hat in front of it. That was just me not having the clip of him actually pulling the string and starting the chainsaw. The whole like choking situation didn't really work out the way that he thought, so he ended up pulling the cover off and spraying some starter fluid somewhere, and then that started it, but then he forgot to put the cover back on. So that explains the whole like chainsaw starting not having the cover on situation that happened at the beginning of the video, if any of you even remember that, because that was 50 minutes ago at this point. So that cedar that Al gave me that was under his tarp, he got that many years ago. He thinks it was like 25 years ago, but the wood itself was from a cedar tree that was part of a forest fire that happened like in the early 1900s. So that wood is really, really old, like over 100 years old, I'm pretty sure. So that's a big reason why it's got that rot on it, but the core is solid. So we'll see what I can get out of those. But a lot of them look super straight, so I'm excited about that. Safety police are going to come after me hardcore for my table saw technique. I know I'm supposed to have a board that you like push so your hand does not get anywhere near the blade when you're using your table saw. So that was, don't do that. And during the filming of this video, I got my first injury. I have been successful in building this entire woodshed up until this point without hurting myself. Maybe I don't even know if I've cut myself and bled. If I did, I don't remember it. But in this video, I'll show some footage right now. I was tired and I moved my body in a weird position while I was fixing the fro, because as you guys saw, I was using the wood hammer that Al gave me, and the other wood hammers that I tried to use in the last videos broke. So I just decided, you know what, especially with the fro being as wide as it is and the cedar bolts being as wide as they were, I didn't have an option other than that metal maul end of my splitting maul to use, because it's narrow enough to fit, and it's what am I trying to think of? It's narrow enough and it's heavy enough, and it works. It gets the job done, but the problem is it flattens out the metal, and so that's why I was using a metal cutoff blade and then a sanding wheel, I think you call it. I'm not a fabricator, so I'm pretty dumb when it comes to a lot of things, but especially metal work. As you can see, that's why I have this injury that hurts really bad, because it's in such a terrible spot, because it's on my wrist. So when I move my wrist like this, it hurts. When I move my wrist like this, it hurts, because the scab is not allowed to heal properly. So that's going to hurt for a while. But yeah, I slipped, and that sanding wheel just took a layer of my skin off. So Julia was pretty upset with me, because she told me, like, you can do your thing on this woodshed, just don't hurt yourself, or else I'm going to be mad at you. So she's only mad because I injured myself and she's not here to help me. So that's why she's mad. It's fine that I hurt myself, but it's just like, don't do it when I can't be there to support you. So I'm going to see her this weekend, and she's going to scold me for that. Okay, so the purlins that I had laid out on the concrete floor, those are not the purlins that I'm going to use. I'm going to use 2x2s at least. And I think I'm going to take all those 2x4s that I used for bracing, and I'm going to rip them in half on the table saw. So I'll have 1.5 inch purlins. And that's going to give me enough support, I think, so that when I'm hammering the nails in through the shingles into the purlins, I'm not going to get a crazy amount of bounce. But we will see. Okay, the big question is, how many shingles do I have so far? So with the spacing that I'm doing on those purlins, I think they're going to be 12 inches. And as I said in the video, I've got 6 rows, it looks like. So that means I've got 6 foot of coverage. So 16-foot roof, and I got 6 rows. So it's almost one whole side of the woodshed, but not really, because I need to make a starter row. So I'm just going to say I'm a quarter of the way there with the shingles, I think. But okay, Al had a great idea. He's like, if you put in a what's it called, a natural light, like you put a glass window or a clear plastic thing between the rafters, I don't know what it's called. You basically imagine I put like 4 windows in the roof, and that means less shingles. If I do that and I use what I have plus the ones that I just got, plus Al and I go back and get the rest of what's up there, I should be able to have enough shingles to finish the roof. And I'm sure there's more, but I need to turn the camera off and put that SD card in the computer and finish this video. Appreciate you guys watching this one, and I will see you on the next one. Thanks.